Time is running out for the United States. They need to find a solution and they need to find it soon as far as its debt and the debt ceiling is concerned. But before we talk to you about what really is the debt ceiling and what could potentially happen if the United States defaults, let's step back a little to give you an overview of what is currently happening and why is this a huge challenge for the US government. Now, without raising the debt ceiling, the US government will default on its bills, which remember will be a historic first which can have catastrophic consequences. Federal workers would be furloughed, global stock will plummet, and the US economy probably will slip into a recession. Joe Biden's decisions of skipping multiple nation tours came after warnings of an unprecedented and financial storm from the Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen. Now, what really is the debt ceiling and why is this so crucial? The debt ceiling, remember, is the limit on the amount of money that the US government can borrow to pay for its services. Services like its social security, medical expenses, Medicare, and even the military. Now, how does this actually work? Each year, you have the government that takes in revenue from taxes and other streams, such as custom duties, but ultimately spends more than what it really takes in. Now, this really leaves the government with a deficit, which has ranged from anywhere between $400 billion to $3 trillion each year over the last decade. The deficit that is left at the end of each year ultimately gets stacked on to the country's total debt. Now, to borrow money, the US Treasury issues securities, in fact very similar to the US government bonds that will eventually pay back with interest. But once all of this is done, what really happens? Once the US government hits its debt limit, the Treasury cannot issue any more money, which essentially means that key flow of money has been stopped. Who really is in control as far as this debt ceiling is concerned? In the United States, it's the Congress, and currently that debt limit stands at $31.4 trillion. The debt ceiling has been raised 78 times since the 1960s. Now to the larger question. What really happens if the United States defaults? Because this will be the first time, no one really knows of how bad the picture could look. And as I said, many experts are saying it's not going to be a rosy picture. What have we heard from Janet Yellen? And I'm quoting, Janet Yellen has gone on to say, the failure to meet the government's obligation would cause irreparable harm to the US economy, livelihoods of Americans, and even the global financial stability. This is what Janet Yellen said in a letter that was written to the Congress in the month of January. This would also mean it would have a huge impact as far as investors are concerned. Investors would lose faith in the US dollar, causing the economy to weaken very quickly. This would also mean that Americans could lose their jobs. Job cuts would become imminent, and the US federal government would not have the means to continue all its services. Now, why is the debt of the United States so high? That's another question. The US debt, in fact, grows when the government is spending more money or when the revenue is lower. And that is why, to ensure that the payment is made on time, to ensure jobs are not lost and the economy doesn't go into recession, as we said when we started, time, in fact, is running out.